Thanks again for being here. Let's begin with the latest from the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. They have commenced reviewing the salary packages of political, public and judicial office holders nationwide. In a statement issued in Abuja on Thursday by the head of Information and Public Relations Unit of the Commission, Mariam Yusuf, it revealed that the current salaries for President Tinubu and ministers have not changed since 2008, describing them as outdated. He emphasized that the review aims to ensure sustainability and align with Nigeria's governance growth. However, this move has sparked strong criticism. Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has condemned it as a shameless grab that ignores Nigeria's economic struggles. Meanwhile, Labour Party has described the proposed salary increase by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission for political office holders as unjustifiable, especially at a time when Nigeria is passing through economic hardship. LP's interim National Publicity Secretary, Tony Akeni, said rather than increasing political office holders' salaries, the Commission should move for an increase in the minimum wage of Nigerian workers from its present 70,000 naira. He also noted that the United States government recently advocated an improvement in Nigeria's minimum wage and urged the Commission to retrace its steps in the best interest of the country. For some analysis, I have with me tonight our political analyst, Georgia Shiru, as well as chartered accountant, Olusegun Okwade. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, I'll start with you, Mr. Shiru. I mean, the Commission has vowed to go ahead with the process of upgrading the salaries of public officers, despite all the hulabai that I don't know if that's the correct word now. What are your thoughts about this insistence to go ahead with the review, despite the concerns raised?
I don't think any Nigerian will be surprised. There's nothing about this government or most governments in Nigeria that shows any form of attitude towards a review of decisions they've made. I mean, we all made noise and went on strike, asking for a review on the liberalization of Forex. Some people did, nothing happened. You know, young people went on strike and protested the economic hardship of Nigeria occasioned by the, in quotes, fuel subsidy removal. Nothing happened. There has been no response by government to the issues raised by its own citizens who voted them into power. There's been no response to anything, you know, of importance to the people. So what we see is executive branch essentially just doing what it feels it wants to do, regardless of what the people want. And this particular instance is not an exception. Our party, African Democratic Congress, you know, just like other parties, have mentioned that there are certain things that are tone deaf. You know, you don't do them at certain times. I don't think anybody has a problem with the review of a salary. We have a problem with the fact that it's a review of a salary of people that don't live on their salaries. People that live, the feeding that is provided in presidential villa is provided by the taxpayers' money. All the travels of the president is taken care of by the taxpayers' money. Hosting of events, hosting of people, every single thing is taken care of by the taxpayers' money. And they're saying, look, we too are suffering, but we're still paying our taxes. So if you are thinking of increasing your personal revenue, then why don't you cut off all of the various benefits you are getting? Then that is where there's a good balance for us. We can increase your salary if you will cut down on your international travels, if you will cut down on some of the things which we regard to be economic waste in this country. And I think those are the real fundamental issues with Nigerians. Is the fact that you're buying new jets, you're buying new this, you are providing 200-300 million cars to this same set of people. You know, each of the cars, some of them have a retinue of about 4 or 5 cars, which will cost $1 billion plus. And then they are talking about salaries, again to be reviewed. So why don't you remove 2 or 3 of those cars and then you can review their salaries? Why don't you remove half of their aides? Then you can review their salaries. That's really what Nigerians are saying,
okay,
you know, my sister. And I think that's what we need to be thinking about as well.
The concern is the more on the pecs that comes with the role. But then again, Mr. Okwade, the commission is saying that they are basically just are relying on the mandate that they have from the 1999 Constitution to review salaries and remuneration of public office holders. And that's one argument they're putting up. Should they not be going ahead with their mandate in consideration of the timing as being agitated by Nigerians?
Thank you very much, Felicity. You see, it's quite disappointing the way some of these public officers speak when he asks concern about the political holders. If you have a mandate, have you asked yourself, the mandate given to you to review the salary or to work the salary of the political holders, have you had a shake with other agencies to see if they are actually, fulfilling some of the electoral promises they gave to the people? Nobody is actually saying they should not review the salary, just like what Mr. Shiro said. But there is what we call the right timing in carrying out a particular thing. People are complaining of hardship in the land. And we also, like people like us have said, I'm not a politician, that there are no differences within all the political parties. They are birds of the same feather. Why do I say this? When the National Assembly was to be given vehicles, did you see any of the political party, despite criticizing the ruling party, that no, we will not go ahead with this? They all received it because they said it's what is attached to their office, not minding the people that they have actually been elected to lead. You see, this will come. Most of the time, the politician would have concluded that which they needed to do behind the scene, whet the appetite of the people, and carry on with what they need to do. The only person, and I will say here, that can stop this act and this attitude if there is a declaration or a pronouncement by Mr. President tomorrow. But if he's silent and he decides to turn his eye away from this, I can tell you it will see the light of the day. They will increase it. Nothing will happen, and everything will continue the way it is. We've seen instances where these people have not been very sensitive to the people that we are leading. And I hope, Mr. President, we just call them. There are a lot of things that are beneficiary to them, not this salary that we're actually talking about.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to travel because of the obstacles that are attached to it. So I think they should just have the feeling of the masses that they claim that they are leading. This is not the best time, if you ask me, that this should be coming up, because things are not smiling to the people that they are leading.
I mean, the timing seems to be a consensus across board. But Mr. Ashiru, what is the possibility of the presidency stepping in, as being advocated by Mr. Okwadi, that the commission should hold off this review at this time in consideration of the concerns that's been raised?
I think I have a better suggestion, and that is that some of these high office holders can simply say, oh, the commission can go ahead, but they have decided that they are going to donate their salaries to charity, or that they will receive only half of their salaries, or they will not even receive those salaries. So the salaries could be in principle increased, if that is what the commission is after. But that the people themselves who are beneficiaries will come out to say, I've come to serve Nigeria, not to exploit Nigerians. So I think it's insensitive. And so at this time, I will choose to receive for myself only what I've been entitled to, and the balance of it can go into something else. This is what we call leadership. It's not simply saying, well, it is my right. It is understanding that as long as the people that you are leading are suffering, you have to have some empathy for them. You have to connect with them. And one of the best ways to connect with them is to not have special rights, special privileges that they cannot enjoy. This is not Animal Farm that we have read about George Orwell's. So I think essentially my concern again is not so much that a salary of 1.4 million is being reviewed to 1.8 million. No, these same people are getting allowances that are backed up into hundreds of millions in different ways. They get newspaper allowance, they get DSTV allowance, they get all these strange things that the average Nigerian worker doesn't get. And then they still now want their basic salaries to be reviewed upward, when they can easily say, look, I don't even need to live on my basic salary because all these other perks I'm getting is more than sufficient. It is far more than not just the average Nigerian, the average middle-class Nigerians can afford. And I think that's really what the appeal should be. You know, choose to reject it individually and say, no, I don't need this now. So nominally, the increase can go on to fulfill whatever the commission believes to be its right. And then the individuals themselves send the body language to Nigerians that we're not existing because of these salaries and we don't want it to be an issue. And we are therefore rejecting it. And that will send a message to other commissions that are tone deaf in this particular period in time, you know, to seek for time, to seek to push forward some of the decisions they want to make.
Others will argue with you and say that at what point in our political history have our politicians truly listened to the body language of the citizens? Rather, it's the other way around. The citizens have to listen to the body language of the government. That is an aside. Mr. Okwadi, how does Nigeria's current, just for some more perspective, the current remuneration package for political office holders compare to other countries? And what would be some of the experiences of these countries that have implemented similar salary increase for the public officials?
Yeah, when you compare salary with other areas, you juxtapose it also with the way and manner those citizens of those states have actually been taken care of. I want to state that we had during the last administration that what Mr. Shiro said, a lot of them donated their salary. Some even said 50% cut. I've asked myself, if indeed our leaders are sincere to what they are saying about the salary and some of the allowances they are collecting, claiming to be donated, what are the specific things that those things were actually used for? As a finance person, when you say you are setting aside, you should be able to come at the end of every month, at the end of every year, to say, tell the populace, as I actually said in my words, to actually put aside some of my allowances and some of my salary. These are things that we're able to use it and actually have the feel that some of those things. This is why a lot of people will tell you that these political offices should be on part-time basis. Because a lot of them had their individual businesses that they were doing before now. Maybe we leave only Mr. President to have the concentration, but for National Assembly and every other area, can we go ahead, practice that, your profession that you're doing before you become a politician, and you can have more of this, and we can just take a little allowance to make things happen. The truth of the matter is, if we compare our position with other people, it's not about the remuneration. It's about the benefit that other people, which other day I was in a particular program and people are actually comparing us that it used to be Ghana must go, but now people are saying Nigeria must go in Ghana. Because when you look at the currency of this neighboring country to dollar, which we claim to, is really not it. That's why you see a lot of organizations moving to our neighboring country to go ahead and establish their organization so that they can, compete favorably. If you look at all those things that are actually happening, it's not about the salary. It's about what are other benefits that some of these people are benefiting from, not the salary that they have to take home with.
We have to end the conversation now. Thank you very much, Mr. Shiro and Mr. Okwadi, for the time you've given.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Coming up tonight, Benue State Assembly in crisis as Governor Alia denies involvement in plot to impeach Speaker. This and more after this break. You're watching tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission defies criticism, insists review of salaries of public officers must continue. Benue Assembly suspends 4 lawmakers over alleged plot to sack Speaker as Governor Alia denies involvement. United States is to review records of more than 55 million visa holders to assess condition for entry or stay in the country. Glad you're still here. Let's head now to Benue State, where the House of Assembly has suspended 4 lawmakers for 3 months over allegations of initiating impeachment proceedings against Speaker Hyacinth Dajoh. The suspended members are Alfred Berger, Cyril Ekong, Umoru, and Shimawua Terna. Subsequently, the House adjusted its leadership, appointing Kennedy Angbo as Deputy Majority Leader, Douglas Akya as Deputy Chief Whip, and Elias Audu as the new House spokesman. Additionally, the Assembly has commenced the screening of 5 commissioner nominees, while 2 others are scheduled for screening at a later date. Meanwhile, Governor Hyacinth Alia has denied any involvement in the plot. Public universities in Nigeria may suffer yet again another strike, with a recent threat by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. University students often suffer prolonged academic calendar, delayed graduation, among others, each time varsity teachers down tools. My colleague Omolola Ololade has more in this report.
Nigeria's public universities are on the brink of another potential strike as the Academic Staff Union of Universities warns of a nationwide strike due to the federal government's failure to meet its demands. On the other hand, the federal government proposed loan scheme for tertiary institution staff, a move ASU rejected immediately. At the University of Lagos, students expressed concern about the potential delay to their academic calendar while supporting the rejection of the loan scheme by academic staff of the universities.
I've experienced one strike before, and I promise you, that was a major point in my life. I think that was my worst year because I was depressed. I understood what depression was. Because imagine your friends moving up and then you're just stagnant. I just came out from secondary school. That was 2022, and I was stagnant. My friends had traveled out and whatever. I mean, I had a lot of friends that were in almost all of them traveled out because of the strike. So I promise you, it does a lot of harm than we even know about.
The staff rejecting the loans, because it's just creating another problem for the people. It's not creating a sustainable solution. The loans are not a sustainable solution, as it just pushes the problem forward rather than addressing the source of the issue. That's my take on the loan.
You know, if you're owing somebody money, pay up. That's just it. The loan idea is just another way to still rope them and still make them, on your tail. So I think they should set them free.
ASU, however, believes the proposition of a loan scheme does not solve the core issues within the system, hence the urgent need to conclude the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement.
The fundamental reason why we are rejecting this loan is that if government concludes on the 2009 renegotiated agreement, it has already been renegotiated with the government side. If they can come back to us, tell us what is acceptable to them in that agreement, tell us what is not acceptable to them, and we close the gap, holds the key to solving most, if not all, of these problems that has continued to rear its ugly head and cause instability in the system.
All eyes are on ASU as it schedules rallies across university campuses and awaits the outcome of a government meeting billed for August 28 before deciding on further action. With trust between ASU and the government strained, the threat of a strike looms large, potentially disrupting the education of thousands of students across the country. In Lagos for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
Following the declaration of Abdullahi Haski, a businessman and in-law to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, as wanted over allegations of money laundering, reactions have continued to pour in from across the country. In the Federal Capital Territory, residents who spoke to News Center's Sagia Ibrahim expressed mixed views, with some describing the move as a political witch hunt and others insisting the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is simply performing its constitutional duty.
The FCC, they are doing a good job. They should be very, very thorough and use discipline, objectivism in analyzing whoever is involved. No matter whose son or daughter who is involved, let us crack them down like what Toure is doing in Burkina Faso. We cannot allow these people to be toying with the destiny of Nigeria.
It's a political strategy now, you know. Atiku as a person is a popular political godfather in Nigeria. He was a former vice president. So definitely the government of the day have to do everything possible to ensure that it doesn't have any chance of coming back again.
Whatever EFCC does now, people will look at it as a witch-hunting. But in the real sense, this is what is expected of them to have done earlier before now. If you look at me, I don't make any excuse to any politician. Every politician in Nigeria is corrupt.
Forget, the EFCC, they do their own job. Why they not come arrest me? Are you sure now? That political in-law make it go defend himself. EFCC, they do their own job. Anybody do bad, they go arrest them.
If EFCC was not working, people will still say they are not working. But we see that the EFCC is set up to combat financial crime, official corruption, mostly. And so we all are victims of corruption in the public space. So if EFCC is doing their work, I think nobody should read meaning to it. The question we should ask is, do they have any tangible reasons for inviting these people?
Residents of Benue State have called for the control of the state vigilante group known as Agune Chamber to check their excesses. They are also raising concerns about their mode of operation, which they say does not provide suspects with fair hearing, leading to violation of rights. The residents also claim that the operatives of this local security outfit had at various times arrested and extorted Anambra people.
Before I cover Mwadi, we had a show. Macaronia and Madu were issue where Kiji Gossop, we make it dear. Just one davo, never go. I bet the man do okay, even a man with Bruzo. Magodonia, but never going to put out my week. We are not so sundry. We were our response. We can have what's the free. Okay, Bugia. So no, I have got on over. I have to go to water. All over, but I really not take it. Okay, Bugia. I went to Akya. I'm one in a woman, the kind level. Okay, Bugia. What the police? Police are going to Martinique. Okay, Jonia, Tabatania. Before Akya I said, I could do, I'm not fish signs. If I'm not, no, do motu. I very bad, didn't I bribe fish? I want to manage Janoria. So very bad. That team I can look from here. They say no, me about a way 30,000 bedroom. They may be open. All the other manora, drug out, Nabohasi, and all about could you swim mad awful.
Thank you for staying with us outside Nigeria's shores. 2 years after hundreds of members were found dead in shallow graves linked to suspected religious cult in Kenya, 5 more bodies have been recovered from the same site on the outskirts of Malindi. In 2023, more than 400 bodies were discovered in the Shakahola forest, for which 11 suspects are currently under investigation amid concerns over missing children. Government pathologist Dr. Richard Njoroge reveals that 6 graves have been exhumed so far, uncovering the bodies and scattered members. Kenya's prosecutors believe victims were starved and suffocated due to extreme religious beliefs. Criticisms are now trailing the deportation of U.S. asylum seekers to African countries following Uganda's acceptance of same on Thursday. Permanent Secretary for Uganda's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Vincent Bagire, confirmed that the new arrangement is part of the U.S. government's efforts to accelerate deportations by relocating certain migrants to third countries. Uganda joins other East African nations such as Rwanda and South Sudan in this agreement, expanding Washington's network of countries accepting migrants misplaced by U.S. immigration decisions. Global affairs analyst Alexander von Vugen joins me now to look at the trade and humanitarian implication this move is likely to have on African nations. Good to have you again, Alexander. What are the potential human rights implications for African countries receiving deported asylum seekers, considering the varying human rights records of these countries? Alexander, I cannot hear you. See if your device is muted again.
My apologies.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the potential of human rights violations is going to vary from country to country. The philosophy of deporting immigrants or asylum seekers or non-Americans to Africa, I think, is not to make Africa a dumping ground for deportees from America, but rather to place them in a continent from which they originate. In the case of the individuals currently being sent to Africa, it's primarily African and Asian origination. It's also important to note that you can't bundle an asylum seeker with a refugee and an illegal alien that is deported or an illegal alien with a criminal record. These are distinct differences, and there are different reasons for their deportations from America, and those have to be handled differently as well. Some require further incarceration. Others will be accepted to invite them into society and get jobs and healthcare and be productive citizens of those countries, such as in Rwanda.
How does the U.S. decision to deport asylum seekers differ from European countries' approaches to migration, particularly in the light of EU's recent efforts to tighten migration rules and deportation policies?
I think Europe has been overwhelmed with migrants and is currently overwhelmed, and that's why they're now seeking alternatives, because their systems are getting crowded and underfunded. England, for example, is also looking at sending asylum seekers awaiting approval to Rwanda until such approval might be given, and they're trying to discourage dangerous and illegal migration across the channel, where so many families have perished in waters and drowned. No one wants to see that.
What economic and social implications can be expected for African countries like Cameroon and Uganda, which have seen significant numbers of deported asylum seekers return, often with traumatic experiences?
Uganda is particularly overtaxed. They're approaching 2 million refugees in their country, or asylum seekers. They are underfunded now. In fact, they're busting at the seams, and they're appealing for assistance. Now, this is further complicated by the fact that Trump has also defunded the UN, and he's defunded U.S. aid, which in turn used to support many of the NGOs in Africa. He's advocating trade, not aid. So I think what we should also look at, we're not getting a disclosure as to what the deal is in Uganda for America sending deportees to Uganda. What is the deal? What does it implicate as far as business goes? As we know, Trump is a businessman, and he always wants to make a deal. Uganda is also rich in mineral resources, agriculture. I think there may be a trade-off there. Uganda was also has been criticized for its denial of LGBT rights, which also affected their funding from the IMF and the World Bank. Trump, I think, may acknowledge that each society and culture has their own norms and rules, and He just wants to do business. So I would think there's going to be some other deals other than just housing asylum seekers in Uganda. I think it's much more broader based than that. And that's why we're not hearing what the underlying conditions are for each deal.
Nigeria has rejected an offer to accept asylum seekers from the United States. What do you suppose the implications of this would be for the West African country in the long or short term?
Well, I think in a perfect world, the Nigerian people would welcome asylum seekers, but I think it's a matter of dealing right now with internal displacement problems that Nigeria has. They're also one of the most populated countries in Africa, at about 230 million people. I think they're also currently taxed with resources. There's a shortage of education for asylum seekers' children. It would tax the Nigerian population, which is already overtaxed. So I think in the future, that has to be fixed first before you can invite foreigners in. So I think it's a common sense decision to say no thank you at this point.
Alexander, as always, thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure.
To one of our headline stories tonight, the United States government has announced a sweeping review of more than 55 million foreign nationals holding valid U.S. visas. This continuous vetting process aims to identify individuals who may have violated the terms of their entry or become ineligible to remain in the country. The U.S. State Department says the review will examine all available information, including law enforcement and immigration records, as well as any new data that arises from visa issuance. If a visa holder is found ineligible, their visa will be revoked, and those already in the U.S. may face deportation. A short break, and when we come back, we'll be bringing you business, sports, and entertainment news. To stay with us. Business news is next with Lekon.
Yes, in business, United Kingdom-based investors provided the bulk of Nigeria's foreign capital inflows in Q1 2025, accounting for 65.3%. That's about $3.68 billion of the $5.64 billion total, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. This marks a 29% rise from Q4 2024 and a 104% surge year-on-year, underlining Britain's dominant role in Nigeria's external financing profile. Other key contributors included South Africa with $501 million, Mauritius $394 million, and the US $369 million, including the UAE $302 million, with the top 5 countries jointly responsible for over 92% of inflows. Analysts warn that such concentration exposes Nigeria to risks from shifts in investor sentiment abroad. And fresh research shows UK businesses increasingly view Africa as a strategic growth hub driven by reforms, demographics, and rising digital transformation. We also tell you that President Bola Tinubu has unveiled a personal income tax calculator designed to help Nigerians estimate their tax obligations under the new tax laws taking effect in January 2026. Announcing the tool via his ex-handle, Tinubu said the initiative aims to ensure equity, fairness, and transparency in the country's tax system. He stressed that a fair tax structure must not punish poverty or weigh down the most vulnerable. The calculator, available at fiscalreforms.ng, allows users to compare their current tax payments with projected liabilities under the new laws. According to the president, the reforms safeguard low-income earners, enforce progress, and simplify compliance. And straight to the stock markets, Nigerian equities extended gains on Friday, a departure from a few that we saw in a drop yesterday, as the all-share index advanced by 0.48% to close at 141,004.14 points, lifting the market capitalization to about 89.21 trillion naira with a differential in appreciation of 0.48%. Now, the upbeat performance actually showed that key sectors, particularly insurance and consumer names were strong in this performance. Now, looking at sectoral performance, we tell you that the banking index climbed 0.83% in renewed positioning in Tier 1 lenders. Insurance outshone that particular growth, 7.6% in market value, driven by heavy demand for low-priced counters. Oil and gas inched up 0.07%, reflecting marginal gains in select energy majors. Consumer goods followed with a 1.08% increase on the back of buying interest in food and beverage stocks. However, industrial goods slipped 0.08% as weakness in select stocks persists. That's it on business. I am Lekon Onabanjo.
Sports update is with Onyinye. Hi, Onyinye.
Hello, Felicity. Now, in the world of sports, Super Eagles coach Eric Schell has released a 31-man provisional squad for the crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Rwanda on September 6 and South Africa on September 9. The squad includes key players Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman and Wilfred Ndidi, while newcomers Ebenezer Hackett and Benjamin Fredericks also make the list. Nigeria faces mountain pressure after a poor qualifying run, managing only one win in 6 matches. The Super Eagles are 4th in Group C, trailing leader South Africa by 6 points and sitting 1 point behind Rwanda and Benin Republic. The upcoming double-header could prove decisive for Nigeria's hopes of reaching the 2026 tournament. Away from that, the 2025-2026 Nigeria Premier Football League season opened in Abeokuta, with Remo Stars, defending champions, and Rivers United battling a 1-1 draw on match day 1. The match day barely settled before Rivers United shook the home crowd with a 3rd minute through Aniekeme Okon before Victor Mboma equalized with Remo Stars 6 minutes later. Both sides created chances but failed to find a winner. The visitors finished with the men after the Temple Emekai, who was sent off in stoppage time. There are 9 fixtures to be played on Sunday, which should show you on your screen right now. The fixtures seeing Abia Warriors, Kwara United, Enugu Rangers, El Kanemi Warriors, Niger Tornadoes, Katsina United, all at home to welcome their visitors. Moving away from there, we take you to the next news, where we'll be looking at Kenya's exciting debut at the African Nations Championship ending in a heartbreak on Friday after a 4-3 penalty shootout loss to Madagascar in Nairobi. The Harambee Stars, chasing first continental semi-finals since 1987, led early in the second half when Alphonse Omija, he headed home Madagascar's, equalized in the 66th minute through Fenoharasima Razafi Noros. That penalty after a handball. With the game tied at 1-1 after extra time, the contest went up to penalties. Kenya converted 3 kicks but missed 2, including Omija's late effort, while Madagascar held firm with Toko Rokohondrahibe scoring the decisive kick. In another quarterfinal, we had Morocco urging Tanzania 1-0, and that has given them a berth to the semi-final. We still have more games at the African Nations Championship, as Morocco and Madagascar are through to the semi-final of the 2025 competition. All right, moving away from that, Nigerian forward Victor Boniface has arrived in Milan to undergo medical tests ahead of his transfer from Bayer Leverkusen. The 23-year-old striker is set to join AC Milan on loan, with the Serie A club agreeing to pay €5 million a loan fee. The deal includes the option to buy for €24 million through, though not mandatory, as Boniface, who played a key role in Leverkusen's Bundesliga title win and Europa League's second phase finish 2 seasons ago, he completed the initial checks before heading to the hospital for further examinations. Milan are looking to strengthen their attack as they prepare for the 2025-2026 season, and Boniface's arrival adds depth to their forward line. And that's all in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaro. The news continues with Felicity.
Hello, and let's have the latest in the world of entertainment. Good evening.
As always, good evening, Felicity. We're here to give you all the biggest conversations that happen here on entertainment side of things. Now, on August 20th, 2025, Nigerian singer Lil Kesh was reportedly stabbed during a robbery attack in Lagos. The 29-year-old artist, known for a hit song, Shoki, was ambushed by unknown assailants who, disposed him of jewelry worth millions of naira and stabbed him in the neck during the altercation. Now, he was immediately rushed to the hospital, treated for injuries, and later stabilized. Now, Lil Kesh addressed the incident via his Instagram story, describing it as a curveball, but expressing gratitude for his survival. As of now, or as at the report, neither Lil Kesh nor the Nigerian Lagos State Police Command has released an official statement on the attack. The incident has drawn attention to the safety and concerns of public figures in the country. Felicity, and now this is this is not the first time where celebrities are being harassed on the streets by probably fans who think that they owe them something, or but this situation, he was on the street with his team, taking a walk, and this happened. He lost jewelry, he got stabbed, and people were saying maybe he would have had more security for himself at the time.
Well, the story says a robbery incident.
Yeah.
For me, unfortunate. I'm glad he survived it.
Yes, he did.
But it still goes back to the question of, if you don't secure the ordinary man, how will the rich and the powerful be secured? That's the question everybody keeps asking. I'm glad he is okay.
Yes, he is.
But we need to do more with our security. If we have more security around, and
well, like you said, we're glad he's okay. Now, let's talk something exciting, because you know how it is. On Fridays, we're talking about new music as they drop. And A7S is back with a global hit. Now, the reason why he's in the news is because his brand new single, Lighter, featuring none other than Nigerian superstar Wizkid and French hitmaker David Guetta. Now, this cross-continental collab is pure magic. Wizkid floats effortlessly with his silky Afrofusion vibe. A7S sprinkles in his melodic pop brilliance, and Guetta supercharges with his festival-ready electronic energy. The result was a vibrant feel. Now, it's a feel-good anthem that screams unity, joy, and global connection. With its addictive hook and seamless genre blend, Lighter is destined to be one of the heavy world rotational music. Now, what I would say about this, Felicity, is A7 is from Sweden, David Guetta is France, and Wizkid is Nigeria.
leveraging. That's the word that kept popping in my head. Leverage all to stay relevant, to stay in the game, to make it pop and make people interested.
And that's
what's happening.
And that's what's happening. Yes. And we're here for it. We're glad that Afrobeat is taking this place as well. But yeah, we're here for it. Well, that's all we have in entertainment tonight, by the way.
And that's all the news tonight. But before we go, a quick reminder of our top stories. Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission defies criticism, insists review of salaries of public officers must continue. Benue State Assembly suspends 4 lawmakers over alleged plot to sack Speaker as Governor Alia denies involvement. We also told you that the United States is to review records of more than 55 million visa holders to assess conditions for entry or stay in the country. Would love to hear from you as always. Please send us your reports to the number showing now on your screen. You can follow us on social media as well to do that. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. Thank you as always for your kind company. Have a good night.